So what would a competition look like if it was designed to test the ultimate human bond? Well, today, we're breaking down how Mr. Beast did exactly that. He took 100 pairs of identical twins and threw them into a series of insane challenges, all built to push their connection to the absolute breaking point. Okay, let's get into it.
And what's on the line? $250,000. Yeah. From the very first second, the stakes are just astronomical. This isn't just some friendly test of sibling connection. It's a high-pressure battle for a truly life-changing amount of cash.
The setup is pretty simple, right? You've got 100 pairs of identical twins, each pair sealed inside their own cube. And here's the kicker. Every single challenge requires them to work together. If one twin messes up, they're both out. Only one pair can walk away with that grand prize.
And that is exactly what we're going to break down here. We're not just going to watch the chaos unfold, we are going to deconstruct the actual game design. We're going to look at how each challenge was specifically engineered to test a different part of that twin dynamic, everything from teamwork to greed to straight-up deception.
So, the competition kicks off with what you can only call a gauntlet. These first challenges, they aren't about subtle mind games. Nope, they are just brutal, efficient filters designed to weed out teams based on one thing and one thing only: raw coordination and how well they work together under pressure.
Okay, so first up we've got color recall. A sequence of colors flashes up on a screen, and the twins have to memorize it together and then punch in the right pattern. The real genius here, though, was the escalating difficulty. It started with a pretty simple 6-color pattern, but it quickly jumped to a mind-bending 27, putting this insane strain on their shared memory.
And the result of just that first challenge? 28. 28 pairs of twins were eliminated. Just like that. Almost a third of the contestants gone in a single game. It just perfectly shows you how brutally efficient these early rounds were. No second chances, just immediate elimination.
Next up is blind block stacking, and the rules, they seem so simple on the surface, don't they? One twin is blindfolded stacking cubes while the other gives instructions, but the whole thing is a total minefield. It all comes down to perfect, precise communication. The tiniest misstep, one dropped cube, and your shot at 250 grand is over. And this is where you start to see some really interesting strategy. On one side, you have the active stackers, right? They're going for speed, risking it all. But on the other side, this fascinating psychological tactic pops up, the waiting game. Some teams literally didn't touch their blocks. They just decided to bet everything on their opponents cracking under the pressure first. It's a pure gamble on human error.
All right, so with about half the contestants gone, the competition just pivots. The challenges start to evolve from these tests of raw coordination to something way messier. Tests of psychology, of greed, and of social dynamics.
So the next challenge is a classic risk-reward dilemma. Each pair gets an offer, $5,000 cash. The catch? If you take the money, you have a 50-50 chance of being eliminated on the spot. If you refuse it, you're totally safe. It's a test designed to create tension, not just with the game, but between the twins themselves.
So what they do? Well, you can see here. The overwhelming majority, 28 pairs, they played it safe. Only 8 pairs actually took the gamble. And of those who took that risk, half of them were immediately eliminated. It really proved that for most people, that big shot at the grand prize was worth way more than a small, risky payday.
But the psychology didn't just stop at individual greed. Oh no. The competition very quickly shifted into group dynamics, and that's where the Collins twins come in. See, after using these really loud, distracting tactics in the block stacking challenge, they'd basically painted a giant target on their backs. They became the common enemy for the entire room.
And this led directly to the next challenge, a group vote where everyone could target a single pair for elimination. And it wasn't even close. The group came together with this laser focus, casting 26 votes to get rid of the Collins twins. It's a perfect, almost textbook demonstration of herd mentality in a high-stakes environment.
So, with the common enemy gone, the competition needed a new way to thin the herd. The next phase was just a pure test of timing, nerve, and risk assessment, all designed to select the top 10 pairs.
Welcome to the button game. Over 10 rounds, a light would flash, and only the first pair to hit a button would advance to the final 10. But here's the big twist. Anyone else who pressed the button and wasn't first was immediately eliminated. This created this fascinating dynamic where waiting actually improved her odds, but it also increased the risk of getting left with nothing.
And just like we saw before, two really clear strategies popped up.
You had some teams, like the Sansoni twins, who just went for it on the very first round, a super high-risk, high-reward play. Then you had others who believed going first is never the answer, and they preferred to wait for the field to thin out, a much more calculated but definitely more nerve-wracking approach. Okay, we've made it down to the top 10. The next challenge is designed to cut that field in half one last time, shifting away from pure reaction time and back to a test that combines both skill and, you guessed it, communication.
Blindfolded bowling. It's another brilliant twist on that communication theme. One twin bowls completely blind, relying entirely on the verbal guidance of their sibling. They go head-to-head, and the 5 pairs with the highest scores moved on to the final showdown.
And then there were 5. For the final challenge, all the previous tests, coordination, greed, timing, they're all thrown out the window. Winning now comes down to just one thing: pure psychological warfare.
The final game is the briefcase bluff, and its design is just brilliantly complex. So as the slide lays out, one twin from each of the 5 pairs holds a briefcase, but only one case has the prize. The other twins, the ones without cases, they vote to eliminate a pair. Now here's the insane part. If the team you vote out has the money, they win everything right there on the spot. If their case is empty, they're just out. It's a game of bluffing, reading people, and deciding if you can trust anyone, even your own brother.
And the drama was just immediate. In the very first round, one of the Beatty twins pulled off a bluff so convincing that his own brother voted against him, getting them both eliminated. It's a moment that just perfectly captures the insane psychological pressure of this final game.
Later on, a tiebreaker vote came down to pure persuasion. The Morse twins argued so convincingly that their opponents had the money that the group unanimously voted to eliminate the Dirting twins. But when they opened the briefcase, it was empty. It was a perfect misdirection that sent the Morse twins straight into the final 2.
Ultimately, it was the Morris twins who took home that $250,000 prize by navigating this final, treacherous game of deception. Which leaves us with the big question. After this whole gauntlet of coordination, greed, and skill, was their victory the result of some kind of unique twin connection, or was it simply the ability to pull off the perfect bluff when it mattered most?